All right.
All right.
So tell me your name.
My name is Agatha Vornas Mantanes.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about your history.
I'm an immigrant, Greek American, came in the late 60s for medical reasons.
And what was going on in the late 60s?
In Greece, socialism.
And can you tell me a little bit about the socialism that was going on in Greece at the time?
They overthrew the government, took over the country, and probably jailed half the people because we left in the middle of it. We were lucky enough to have already our visas, and we were lucky enough to leave.
So why did you come to America?
For heart surgery.
Heart surgery?
Yeah.
And
Chicago.
what is Chicago?
Yeah.
And what is the first memory that you have here? Outside of the
snow.
house? Outside.
Snow.
Snow. And what did you think of snow? You never had snow in
No,
Greece?
not that much snow. Yeah, it was not horrible. It was like interesting.
Right.
And we also at the time in Chicago they had the Martin Luther King riots.
Oh, tell me a little bit about that.
I don't remember much. I just remember my uncle not letting us out of the house.
Gotcha. And when you arrived here, did you speak English?
No,
How long did it take you to learn?
but a year.
About a year?
Yeah, to learn the fundamentals.
Mhm.
I went to school, and then at the time there was a man in Hollywood, and I forgot his name, that was teaching people, and he had a program on TV, how to do accents. And he was teaching people to put marbles in their mouths
Oh, wow.
to change accents, and I did that in front of a mirror. That's why I don't have the heavy Greek accent other people do.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah, people tell me I don't have an accent, but I really do if I don't watch it.
How were schools back then?
They were different.
Mm-hmm.
We walked to school. I had a little brother that I took to school with me every day. I don't remember much, but they taught a lot more than they do now. They taught differently than they do now.
How do you feel about the critical race theory?
They're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the critical race theory is racist in itself.
Yes.
So.
And from the 1960s to today, how do you feel about America?
I've always been a Republican. I am now a conservative constitutionalist.
And there is a difference.
There's a difference. I was a Republican without realizing how important it was to back the Constitution, because as I know now, no country has the freedoms we do. They might think they do, and they might get on the streets and protest, but they don't. Most of them, get beat up and end up in jail.
What happened in Greece if somebody were to protest before you came over here?
They used to, there was a protest in one of the universities in Greece, and I think several of the people, they killed them. And I forgot what it was called. They were shot and killed.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like, it wasn't as bad as Tiananmen Square, but it was, Greece has a fraction of people that are very communist and a fraction of people that are socialists, because they have been taught to believe the government should take care of you. And that happened after the junta takeover of 1967, after they overthrew the king. It's not a democracy. Everybody says it's a democracy. It's really not.
In Greece, was your family unfairly oppressed there versus America?
No, well, we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't talk to our neighbors about politics or anything like that. We couldn't say anything. No, you couldn't do that. You still can't do that today. It's not, or you shouldn't unless you want to, you don't want a job.
Right.
But no, we didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
But from what my mom said, that you couldn't really talk and say anything
Gotcha.
against the government to anybody.
What do you believe happened in America, and when do you think the change started?
Universities, professors,
Yeah.
and I think that China had a lot to do with it, with infiltrating our universities, with saying let's teach people to love everybody, and which is fine. You can love everybody, but you can't love their politics.
Right. Do you feel that communism or socialism is knocking at the door of America?
Oh, honey, I feel Marxism is knocking at the door. We're over socialism right now, and we're just about past communism. with these crazy people. You know, let me tell you something. The way I see the Democratic Party today, there is no Democratic Party. They're all socialist, anti-Semite Marxists.
Your late husband had quite a story.
Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable
Sure.
elaborating on that?
Sure.
You want to tell the folks about...
His father is a World War I veteran who fought in France. He came to the United States at the behest of the United States to work on the Montana railroads. He worked on the railroads until the Second War, enlisted in the Second War, and fought for the Americans in France. After the war, he came back legally blind as a veteran. Because he was legally blind, we had the United States had the Depression at that time. He went back to his island in Greece because his family was there, because he was alone here, as an American citizen. He went there, he started a business, he married, he had 3 children. In the meantime, he registered all his children with the American embassy, and they were all American because he was an American. He did not believe the Germans were going to invade Greece. When the embassies were telling all the Americans to leave Europe, they told them all. They sent them notices to leave. Take your kids and leave. He didn't. He stayed there. They nearly starved to death. His father-in-law, my mother-in-law's father, was taken to a German concentration camp in Italy. And he and another guy stole a boat and escaped because he was on the coast of Italy. His island is, you can see Italy from Zakynthos, which is the island they came from. And they escaped and they came back to the island. His island is also one of the islands that hid the Jews. If you look up the Jews of Zante, you'll read the story. When the Germans left, the Red Cross went and picked up all the Americans and brought them to the United States. They were the first to leave. They sent ships and they landed in New York, at which point they were handed their passports because they were American. And that's how he got back to the United States.
And what about his mom?
His mom and dad had to stay behind. My husband's mother, yeah, she wasn't an American citizen. She was just a wife. So he brought the 2 sons and himself here, left the daughter and the mom behind, had to invite her and wait, I believe it was 2.5 years, legally invite her as his wife, and then she came with the daughter. The reason that my sister-in-law stayed behind is because he couldn't take care of all 3 kids here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what can people do to stop this communism, socialism, Marxism from continuing?
Well, it's up to us. You have to vote for conservative leaders. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. You can't vote it out. You can always shoot it out, but you can't vote it out.
Yeah.
Right. Once it's in, it's entrenched. And this generation just has no idea what's going on. They're being taught in universities, they're being oppressed. Meanwhile, they're the freest people in the world. You go to any third world country where they kill gay people and women, and they don't even think about that.
Do you think the universities have psychologically manipulated
yeah.
our children?
Sure, hell yeah.
And you think it's important for parents to know where they're sending their children before they go?
Absolutely. That's the first thing they need to do is watch where their kids... You have to investigate all your kids' teachers. I don't care. Abolish the teachers' unions because they're too Marxist.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to tell my family or my kid or me that white people are racist. Because let me tell you something. There's no country in the world that hasn't been invaded, enslaved, or taken over.
Right. I'm Irish. I was imprisoned by Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm Greek. The Turks enslaved Greece for 400 years, killed half of my family, and the Germans tried to finish them off. I mean, so where's my reparations? That's crazy. All this stuff that these kids are learning is crazy.
Is there anything else you think I missed or you'd like to say?
I don't know. No, not really.
Not really?
I mean, I'm pretty clear when I say. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. Most of my friends know that.
Yeah. And you've been very active
Yeah.
in the community as well.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Thank you for being a trooper and answering my questions. But I thought your story was really good and I wanted to make sure it got out there.
Thank you, honey.